Apex, now available to watch on Netflix, is a stylish survival thriller that blends psychological trauma, outback terror, and the spirit of classic Australian exploitation cinema. While it doesn't completely hit the heights it could have, there is still a lot here to enjoy, especially for viewers who appreciate tense wilderness thrillers and films that make strong use of location and atmosphere. So the story centers on a mountain climber haunted by a fatal decision to decision that happened in Norway, who retreats to the Australian wilderness for isolation. Her journey turns into a desperate hunt when a deceptive local targets her as his next real ritualistic prey in the bush. It's an excellent premise, taking a damaged character who wants solitude pacing placing her into an even more dangerous nightmare. The film uses this setup well, balancing emotional baggage with physical survival as the lead character is forced to confront both her past and the immediate horror in front of her. One of the standout elements of Apex is how visually impressive it is. The Australian wilderness has always been a fantastic backdrop for suspense films, and this movie uses it brilliantly. The scenery is absolutely beautiful, but it also feels isolating and hostile at the same time. Vast open spaces, dense bushland, and rugged terrain all become part of the threat in this film. The cinematography is first rate with sweeping landscapes shots mixed with tighter claustrophobic moments. Once the danger closes in, the technical side of the production deserves praise as well. I honestly couldn't tell in several scenes whether CGI, green screen, or practical effects were being used. That's how polished and seamless the visual effects look. In an era where poor digital effects can often ruin immersion, Apex does the absolute opposite. Everything feels natural and convincing, helping the audience stay invested in the tension rather than being distracted by obvious effects work. I should also say the villain is in this film is one of the strongest aspects of this movie. He's unsettling from the beginning, carrying that deceptive charm, which often makes best thriller antagonists so memorable. There's a sinister unpredictability to him, and once his true nature is revealed, the movie becomes far more gripping. He feels like a throwback to the dangerous lunatics who populated many Australian exploitation films of the 1970s and 80s, characters who were both human and monstrous at the same time. Every scene he appears in raises the stakes and gives the movie a real pulse. Charlize Theron delivers I would say, a more mixed performance as the lead actress. There are scenes where her acting feels oddly wooden, almost as if she didn't fully want to be in this film. Some of the quieter dialogue moments lack energy, and her character occasionally feels emotionally distant in a way that seems unintentional. However, when the story demands vulnerability, fear, or pain, she does step up and give the character the emotional weight needed. Her stronger scenes remind you why she's such a respected actress. Even if the performance overall feels inconsistent, the action and suspense sequences are another plus. When the movie leans into survival horror territory, it works very well. The chase scenes through the bush, moments of sudden violence, and cat and mouse encounters I would say, are intense and effectively staged. There is a rawness to some of those scenes that suits the setting perfectly. I would say my main criticism is that there simply aren't enough of them. The film often feels like it's building towards more tense confrontations, only to pull back into slower character beats. A few more action heavy sequences would have elevated the movie, I would say, significantly. When I but what I appreciated most is that Apex captures some of the feeling of old school exploitation cinema. Those films often turned the Australian landscape into something dangerous and primal, and Apex taps into that tradition. As someone who enjoys those 90, sorry, as someone who enjoys those 1980s era Australian thriller and horror films, it was refreshing to see a modern production revisit that style of filmmaking. They really don't make many movies like this anymore, so it was good to see a new film attempt it with a bigger budget and more polished presentation. The ending was also a pleasant surprise. Rather than finishing on a generic thriller note, the film becomes unexpectedly emotional. It ties back into the main character's guilt and trauma in a way that gives the story more meaning than just survival. It adds depth to the character arc and leaves the audience with something more thoughtful than was expected. Overall, Apex is a good looking, well made thriller that doesn't always maximize its potential, but remains somewhat entertaining throughout the film. The scenery is stunning, the villain is excellent, the suspense scenes are strong whenever they're on screen, and the emotional ending gives it extra weight. Charlize Theron's uneven performance and the lack of more intense action hold it back somewhat from being a truly great movie, but it is still worth watching, especially for fans of Australian exploitation movies. So my review for this film is 3 out of 5. If you're looking for a new movie to watch on Netflix, seek this one out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and share. And if you like this sort of content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.